In tonight's headlines, Labour wins the UK election in landslide, with Keir Starmer becoming the new Prime Minister. In Hong Kong, Herman Hui, appointed chairman of the Social Workers Registration Board for a 3-year term, said he would try to increase transparency. And one of 2 women accused of kidnapping a 3-year-old boy in Tseung Kwan O has been taken to the alleged crime scene for police reenactment.
We did it! You campaigned for it, you fought for it, you voted for it, and now it has arrived. Change begins now.
After 14 years in opposition, United Kingdom's Labour Party takes power again, with its leader Keir Starmer becoming the next Prime Minister. He declared that a changed Labour would be returning politics to public service and fighting for trust in a national renewal.
The British people have delivered a sobering verdict tonight. There is much to learn and reflect on, and I take responsibility for the loss.
Outgoing Prime Minister Rishi Sunak considered the Conservatives' worst electoral defeat in its history, saying he was sorry and would step down as Conservative leader. In the 650-seat parliament, the Tories suffered a landslide defeat, losing nearly 250 seats, most of which went to the Labour, giving it a massive majority with over 410 seats. The Liberal Democrats was having their best ever performance in terms of gains, becoming the 3rd biggest party again after almost a decade. And Sinn Féin would be the largest party in Northern Ireland for the first time. Another winner of this race was the leader of the right-wing Reform UK, a Brexit campaigner, Nigel Farage, who was finally elected to Parliament at his 8th attempt. He vowed his party would be coming for Labour with 4 new seats. With the latest defeat of former Prime Minister Liz Truss to the Labour, all 4 of Sunak's predecessors, including Boris Johnson, Theresa May and David Cameron's former MP seats, were lost. Despite a convincing victory, Labour's triumph looked set to be achieved with fewer votes than in both 2017 and 2019, due to Britain's first-past-the-post system, with which the person with the most votes in each constituency wins a seat. Starmer comes to power at a time when the country is facing a series of daunting challenges, including the highest tax burden in 17 years, creaking public services and falling living standards. Meanwhile, 61-year-old Starmer met King Charles III in the Buckingham Palace, where he was formally asked to form a government. Anna Chan, Cable News. The new Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Keir Starmer, was reportedly named after Labour Party founder Keir Hardie, as his parents were Labour Party supporters. Starmer studied law and was formerly a human rights lawyer. In 2008, he was appointed Director of Public Prosecutions and head of the Crown Prosecution Service for England and Wales. To further pursue justice, he decided to make the leap into politics to bring out reform. He was elected to the Parliament in 2015 at the age of 52, and later appointed as Shadow Brexit Secretary, calling for a second referendum on Brexit. And when Brexit seemed unavoidable, Starmer's position was softened, not seeking to reverse Brexit, which was criticized as one of his many political U-turns. Starmer has his own way of dealing with opposing voices, even when he was glitter-bombed at the party's conference last year.
If he thinks that bothers me, he doesn't know me. Protest or power, that's why we changed our party conference. That's why we changed our party.
61-year-old Starmer has been a politician for only 9 years before entering number 10 Downing Street and become the oldest individual to assume the role of British Prime Minister. A lot of people on the left accuse him of letting them down, betraying socialist principles, and those on the right accuse him of flip-flopping. Political analysts pointed out that it seems he is acting according to circumstances or simply his way of political survival. Anna Chan, Cable News.
2 days since the Legislative Council passed the Social Workers Registration Amendment Bill, the government has appointed 12 members to a statutory body overseeing social workers. These include Solicitor Herman Hui, who was named as the chairperson of the Social Workers Registration Board, as well as Deputy Chairwoman Grace Chan. Chan is currently the Business Director of the Council of Social Service. The other appointees include Annie Tam, who formerly served as the Permanent Secretary for Labour and Welfare, as well as the head of University of Hong Kong's Social Work and Social Administration Department, Amy Chow. All members of the reformed group, including the only remaining elected member Oscar Lai, have sworn in this morning. This came as the amended bill requires everyone in the group to swear to uphold the Basic Law and swear allegiance to the SAR before assuming office. Meeting the press for the first time as head of the statutory group, Hui emphasized that there won't be a drastic change after he has taken office. The chairman hoped that by making use of his experience and knowledge, he could help enhance the recognition and professionalism of the body, as well as increase its transparency. He revealed that he would familiarize himself with the duties of the group in the coming 1 to 2 weeks before convening the first meeting. One of my priorities is to handle workers convicted of national security and serious crimes, Hui said. We also have to set up a mechanism to look into the handling of disciplinary committee panel members with court cases. The board has expanded by almost double, from 15 to 27 under the overhaul. While the number of elected members remains at 8, the majority of the members are government appointees, which surged to 17. There is one more representative from the Social Welfare Department, or SWD, after the revamp. The appointees will serve for 3 years, while the term of office of the current members will end in January. Janice Low, Cable News.
Police conducted a reenactment of a kidnapping case that occurred earlier this week in Tseung Kwan O. One of the suspects was seen with a black cloth covering her head, an iron chain around her waist, and handcuffs on her hands. The suspect was first led by detectives into the shopping mall and then to a store, where the case was reenacted under the watchful eye of the police. An interpreter was present to assist, and the entire process was recorded by police officers. The suspects were then escorted out of the mall and transported to a nearby park in a police vehicle. The kidnap case happened on Wednesday when a 3-year-old boy was forcibly abducted from the Tseung Kwan O Plaza shopping mall. The boy's family was subsequently blackmailed for 66,000 units of tether coins, worth more than $5.1 million. After 13 hours of intensive investigation and tracking, police were able to rescue the victim at a nearby residential estate. 2 38-year-old female suspects were arrested at the scene. According to the preliminary investigation, the 2 arrested women were not acquainted with the victim's family, but were found to have financial problems. Jeremy Zhu, Cable News.
Ahead of the moderate heat day in the traditional Chinese solar calendar, the city marked its hottest day of the year today. The mercury hit 34.6 degrees Celsius at the observatory's headquarters in Chimsha this afternoon. The temperature once soared to 35.7 degrees in Zhengzhou. While the sweltering heat could be unbearable for some people, the soft-serve truck operator was probably making bank. This visitor from Guangdong was among those who wished to cool himself down by getting the ice cream. But he said his itinerary was not disrupted amid the weather. This man chose to capture the pleasant weather.
Oh, I'm just taking pictures because it's a blue sky today. Yes, very much. I hope it stays like this for a couple of weeks.
Even though he did not find the weather uncomfortable, the man revealed that he would head home to sit in the air conditioning.
It's more hot in the Philippines. It's okay, not like in my country.
As for this group of tourists, they plan to head to swimming to reduce their body temperature. This woman opted for walking slower, saying that she would eventually feel less hot. The observatory expects the weather to remain very hot next week, with a few showers and isolated thunderstorms due to the subtropical ridge. Janice Lowe, Cable News.
Chief Executive John Lee said in a speech at the International Law Forum that once the new liberalization measures under the Closer Economic Partner Arrangement, or CEPA, are finalized, the city's legal, financial, testing and certification service sectors would be able to benefit from the business opportunities brought by the rapid development in the mainland.
The arrangement, largely concluded and soon to be finalized, means that, among other things, legal practitioners from Hong Kong will have greater room to do business in the mainland. And that, ladies and gentlemen, can only accelerate Hong Kong's rise as a center for international legal and dispute resolution services in the Asia-Pacific region. Now that's a good news story for our legal professionals and the sector in general.
Citizens who have missed the last Doraemon drone show will have another chance to enjoy the dazzling light show featuring the famous blue robot cat and its friends. With the Doraemon and Friends World Tour kicking off in the city on the 13th of this month, the organizer of the event announced that a second drone show will be lighting up the sky over Victoria Harbour again on July 20th. This time, the drone show will be held over the airspace above Avenue of Stars near Tsim Sha Tsui. 1,000 drones will take part in the show, similar to last time, with new content added to lure citizens and tourists. Given the unstable weather in July, the organizer advised the public to pay attention to its official website and social media platforms for the latest updates. China announced the next step in its anti-dumping investigation into European brandy imports on Friday, ramping up tensions on the same day the European Commission's provisional tariffs on Chinese-made electric vehicles take effect. The Commerce Ministry said in a statement it would hold a hearing on July 18th to discuss an ongoing investigation into claims that European brandy producers are selling into China at below market rates. It is expected that any decision about punitive tariffs on European brandy will be announced as early as August. The ministry in January opened a tit-for-tat investigation focusing on European brandy imports in containers of less than 200 liters in retaliation to the European Commission's decision to probe whether Chinese electric car manufacturers receive unfair subsidies. Meanwhile, starting today, the EU will impose tariffs of up to 37.6% on imports of Chinese-made electric vehicles. Beijing has warned that it would take all necessary measures to safeguard the country's interests, including retaliatory tariffs on exports to China of products such as cognac or pork.